It's often very useful to be able to combine many objects into one. There are a couple different ways to do this. First of all, let's just start with using some rectangles as an example. I'm going to draw a series of rectangles overlapping in some form. Okay. Now, if you select them all and then go to Object Group, this makes them all one group. And now we use an effect under the Effects menu, Pathfinder, Add. And then if you go to Object Expand Appearance, so those are the three steps. You group, first of all you group, then you go to Effect, Pathfinder, Add, then you go to Object Expand Appearance. And now we'll see when I click away that it has grouped these all together and gotten rid of the overlapping space. So it will be creating an outline of the shapes that we combined. So this is a very useful feature. One thing that we might want to be able to do with this is to use this to add text and connect text to some other object. So let me first of all start with some text, and I'll type in here. Hello all. Now, first thing, remember, we have to go and convert our type to an outline. So type, create outlines. Then we will make sure it has no fill. And just so it's a little more visible, I'm going to be working with black here. Okay, there's our text. I'll zoom in a little bit. And now, let's say the first thing we might want to do would simply be to add these to a rectangle. So I'm going to put a rectangle on the bottom, like this. Now, select all, Object, Group, Effect, Pathfinder, Add, and then Object Expand Appearance. And voila, we have hello all on top of a rectangle. Another example that you might want to use would be to have a more traditional stencil type of approach. So I'm going to start with this. I'll go to a different font just to make it a little more obvious. I'll use just Helvetica and type in, and we will say stencil. And I want to use this to be a bold, so it gives me a little more thickness there to work with. Okay, so first step again, type, create outlines. Change the fill to be transparent, the stroke to be black. And now let's say that we have a form that is like this surrounding it. So we're going to be connecting it to a rectangular frame. So if we started, one thing we might want to do is just make some little tabs that would connect on the top and perhaps on the bottom, like this. And I'll just do it for 2 letters, and you'll be able to extrapolate from there. So let's say those are our tabs that we want to connect. Now, if we try and do the process that we just did, we'll run into an issue. But let's just try it first of all. So I'm going to select all, go to Group. Even if you have previous groups, make sure that you group again. Effect, Pathfinder, Add, and then Expand Appearance. Uh-oh, it all disappeared. So the issue here, I'm going to just step backwards here a little bit, using undo. The issue is that these 2 lines, these 2 rectangles, although we can imagine that they are going to be creating this being a positive space and this being a negative space, so this stuff will get cut out, this stuff will be left. We can imagine that, but Illustrator doesn't know that. This is one rectangle and this is another rectangle. So in order for this to work, we have to create this to be a single object. So it actually will have an identity of this being interior and this being exterior. So the way we do this is we select the 2 objects, in this case these 2 rectangles. We go to Object, Compound Path, Make. And this will make that into a single object, so to speak. Technically, it's just creating a compound path of those 2 rectangles. So we say Make. Now, when we do the same thing, so select everything, go to Group, Effect, Pathfinder, Add, we should see already that it's working the way we want. And then Object, Expand Appearance. And now we have those two letters connected onto our frame.